Charles Davidson had everything: a mansion, a beautiful wife, a perfect life. But lately, something inside those walls didn't feel right. Doors left open, lights flickering, footsteps when no one's there. Chantel started noticing it too, the feeling that someone was watching. Then one night, she heard something coming from the east wing, a locked door, a quiet hum, and a secret waiting behind it. Because some mistakes don't stay in the past, and some people never leave. Charles Davidson had built his life like a glass house, beautiful, expensive, and impossible to touch without leaving fingerprints. From the outside, he had everything: a sprawling mansion behind iron gates, a respected career, a powerful name. And Chantel, the woman everyone believed was his perfect match. Chantel was elegant, sharp, and calm under pressure. She hosted charity dinners, smiled for cameras, and walked through Charles's mansion like she belonged in every room. But one mistake changed everything. One night, while Chantel was away on a business trip, Charles met Tanya. She was beautiful, mysterious, and dangerously attentive. She listened like every word he said mattered. She laughed at the right moments. She made him feel seen in a way he had not felt in years. By morning, Charles knew it was a mistake. He told Tanya it could never happen again. Tanya smiled softly and said, "I understand." But she didn't understand. She obsessed. Charles thought that one night ended when Tanya walked out of the hotel suite. He had no idea she followed him home. No idea she learned the gate code. No idea that 3 nights later, Tanya slipped into the mansion through the service entrance while Charles and Chantel slept upstairs. The mansion was enormous, too enormous. There were rooms Charles barely used, guest suites no one visited, storage halls behind the kitchen, and an old East Wing Chantel always complained felt cold. That became Tanya's hiding place. At first, she only watched. She learned their schedules. Charles woke at 6:15 every morning. Chantel drank lemon water before breakfast. Their housekeeper left by 5 o'clock. The security cameras had blind spots near the back staircase. Tanya moved through the mansion like a ghost. She ate from their pantry, slept beneath expensive sheets in a forgotten guest room, tried on Chantel's perfume, touched Chantel's dresses, stood barefoot in front of Chantel's vanity, pretending the life belonged to her. Then the mind game started. Chantel noticed it first. A lipstick she never wore appeared in her makeup drawer. A wine glass sat beside Charles's office chair with a faint red stain on the rim. Her favorite silk robe disappeared, then returned days later smelling like unfamiliar perfume. When Chantel confronted Charles, he denied everything. "Are you accusing me of something?" he asked. "I'm asking you why another woman's things keep showing up in my house." Charles froze, but only for a second. That second was enough. Chantel saw the guilt. Tanya saw it too. Hidden behind the cracked office door, Tanya smiled. From that moment, she stopped hiding just to survive. She started hiding to destroy. She sent Chantel anonymous messages. "He still thinks about me. I know what side of the bed he sleeps on. You live in my house now. Chantel tried to trace the number, but it always came back blocked. Then came the photos. A picture of Charles's watch on the nightstand. A picture of Chantel sleeping. A picture taken from inside the mansion while Chantel stood alone in the kitchen. That was when Chantel stopped believing Charles was simply cheating. Someone was inside their home. Charles called security. They checked the gates, the locks, the cameras. Nothing. No forced entry, no intruder on footage, no evidence. Charles said Chantel was stressed. Tanya made sure it looked that way. She moved Chantel's keys, deleted appointments from her calendar, played soft music from empty rooms, left wet footprints in the hallway after midnight. Chantel began sleeping with the lights on. Charles began sleeping in the guest room. And Tanya, hidden behind the walls of their perfect life, whispered to herself, "He'll see her fall apart. Then he'll come back to me." But Chantel was not weak. She was watching too. One night, she pretended to leave for a weekend retreat. She packed bags, hugged Charles coldly, and drove through the front gate. Then she parked 2 streets away and returned on foot through the old garden entrance. The mansion was silent, too silent. Chantel moved room by room with a kitchen knife in one hand and her phone recording in the other. Upstairs, she heard humming. A soft, feminine voice coming from the east wing. Chantel pushed open the door. Inside the forgotten guest room, candles burned across the dresser. Her missing robe lay across the bed. Photos of Charles covered the wall. Newspaper clippings, printed screenshots, lipstick messages written on the mirror. And Tanya stood in front of Chantel's vanity, brushing her hair. For a moment, neither woman spoke. Then Tanya smiled. "You finally found me." Chantel lifted the knife. "You've been living in my house?" Tanya laughed quietly. "Your house?" Behind Chantel, Charles appeared in the doorway, pale with horror. "Tanya?" he whispered. Chantel turned slowly toward him. The truth sat between them, like a loaded gun. Tanya stepped closer, eyes bright and unblinking. "You told me she didn't understand you," Tanya said. "You told me you felt trapped." Charles shook his head. "That was one night. I never told you to come here." Tanya's smile disappeared. "One night?" she repeated. The room went cold. Then Tanya reached into the drawer and pulled out Chantel's missing engagement ring. "I was going to give this back," Tanya said. After she left, Chantel's voice was steady. "I'm not leaving." Tanya lunged. The knife fell. Charles grabbed Tanya, but she fought like someone with nothing left to lose. She screamed that Chantel had stolen her life, that Charles had promised her a future, that the mansion had called to her. Security arrived minutes later. By sunrise, Tanya was taken away in handcuffs, still staring at Charles through the police car window. But the nightmare did not end there. Because when the police searched the East Wing, they found Tanya's journals, dozens of them. She had not followed Charles after the one-night stand. She had known him before. She had watched him for months, studied his house, studied Chantel, planned the affair, planned the break-in. planned to make Chantel look unstable. The one-night stand had not been an accident. It had been an invitation into Charles's life. And Charles had opened the door. Weeks later, the mansion was quiet again. Too quiet. Charles begged Chantel to stay, but Chantel stood in the foyer with her bags beside her, staring up at the chandelier above them. "This house was never haunted," she said. "It was careless." Charles lowered his head. Chantel walked out without looking back. That evening, Charles sat alone in the mansion, surrounded by silence. Then his phone buzzed. An unknown number. One message. "You may have lost her, but I'm still here." Charles looked toward the dark hallway. Somewhere upstairs, a floorboard creaked. And this time, no one was supposed to be inside.